Hello and welcome to iPharma tutorial. So in today's video I am going to cover a very interesting chapter which is distribution of drug coming under the biopharmaceutics. So let's begin with the chapter. So let's begin with distribution of drug. So what distribution of drug? Let's see the first term, disposition. What disposition means? So disposition is a process that tends to lower the plasma concentration of the drug. So it's an eliminatory type of a process that happens in a body which tends to lower the concentration of drug or any of a drug like a moiety, like your many of the things that are there in your blood that has to get out of a body. So a disposition can be, a term can be given to such a product. So it's a process that tends to lower the plasma concentration of a drug. Under disposition we have two terms like distribution and excretion. So distribution is a reversible transfer, it's a reversible distribution between the body compartment, it's your blood and the extravascular system. So it's a reversible transfer between these two compartments, your blood and your extravascular system. Your excretion is a eliminatory process only which tends to take out the whole of the component out of a body. So let's see in our further videos. So in this video we will continue with our distribution part. The steps of the drug distribution. So drug distribution works by permeation of the drug present in the blood through the capillaries into the extracellular fluid. So there is a movement of a drug from your systemic circulation via the capillaries into the extracellular fluid, and from that extracellular fluid it moves into the intracellular fluid. So permeation of drug from ECF to your intracellular fluid, and this vice versa goes one by one and in simultaneous manner. It goes and continue by in decreasing manner. It's in passive process. Against a concentration gradient it happens. So these are the steps involved in the drug distribution. Let's see the factors affecting the distribution of the drug. So tissue permeability of the drug, the permeation at the tissue, under which there are two properties that are physiochemical properties and physiological properties. Organ or tissue perfusion rate, drug binding to the tissue component, and other factors. So let's get this one back. Tissue permeability of the drug. So the tissue permeability of a drug is a very important prime factors of the drug distribution because it's a rate limiting property. And as we know, only unionized drugs that are lipophilic rapidly crosses the cell membrane. And the most important thing in tissue permeability, you have to know that many of the drug moieties that are 500 to 600 Dalton are able to easily cross your capillary pores. They can easily get out of the capillaries, but they are harder to get into your tissue from your extracellular fluid because the size of the molecule and the tissue mostly don't permit the size of a bigger moiety to get permit into it. So it's a rate limiting step, tissue permeability of the drug. Now let's start with physiological barriers. So there are 6 we are taking here, the simple barriers. There are many more, but let's take some basic that are there in commonly we are taking under physiological barrier. So they are capillary endothelial barrier, cell membrane barrier, blood-brain barrier, blood cerebrospinal fluid barrier, blood placental barrier, and blood testis barrier. So let's see all of them one by one. So let's start with capillary endothelial barrier. So what it is? Coming to your physiological barrier, under the capillary endothelial barrier we were saying. So what the capillary endothelial barrier is? So it's a membrane of the capillary supplying blood to the various tissue that is acting as a barrier. It not as such a barrier, but the membrane of capillary act as a barrier because the drugs which are below the 600 Dalton can easily pass away via this capillary membrane, and a bigger moieties above 600 Dalton have a little bit of problem to travel this capillary membrane. So it is a good barrier like a membrane of a capillary acting as a barrier. So we have seen the capillary endothelial barrier. Let's go on further by. Into your cell membrane barrier. As we know, the main thing to get the drug at a site of an action is a very important thing to get a drug at its site of an action to show it's an action. So from that point of view, Your cell membrane barrier is a very important barrier, it says, because to get a drug at its site of an action. So let's see what the cell membrane barrier is and how it is. So when a drug is in blood, so it travels via capillary from the pores and via the membrane into the extracellular fluid, and from that extracellular fluid it travels into your intracellular fluid through the cell membrane. So how the actuates happen? See, when the drugs are lesser than 50 Dalton, they may travel from the capillary wall, which is having a minute pores. As you know that pores is having up to 40 and little bit near the value. The pores are of that size. So from that 50 Dalton can easily pass. Same way a drug which are lipophilic in nature, which are around in 600 Dalton, which are lipophilic, they can easily travel the cell capillary wall membrane and get into extracellular fluid. Same as you know that cell membrane is very permeated. It's highly permeable. No, it's not as highly permeable. It's in selectively permeable many a way. So it permits many few components to get passed via it into your intracellular fluid. So 50 Dalton can easily move between the pores from the cell membrane into the intracellular fluid. But coming to the lipophilic drug, they can easily move via the cell membrane due to being a lipophilic and may get into the blood-brain barrier. Under the physiological barrier we were seeing the blood-brain barrier. So this is the diagram of the blood-brain barrier, a rough diagram. So here you could see that under I have written a blood and this is a brain. In between that we are having in several membranes that are acting as a mechanism barrier. So firstly from the side of in blood we are getting a capillary membrane as a barrier. After that we are getting a pericytic cells, that are some cells after capillary, then astrocyte cells after pericyte cell, then a basement membrane of a cell is there. After that a supporting cell to your neurons, as you know, glial cells are there, and after the glial cell we are having extracellular fluid that is in contact with the brain, and after that we are having the brain. So we are having a various membranes, and by our capillary, the pericytes and astrocytes, by all three of they form our blood-brain barrier, our BBB barrier. So this is the blood-brain barrier. Hope I think so you got it. So again I just repeated that the blood-brain barrier. So the blood-brain barrier comprising of capillary, pericytes and astrocytes as the main membranes of a barrier. So you see that from the capillary there are having a like a tight junction like a membrane of pericytes and astrocyte. Then little bit a space membrane, we get a space of travel of a drug in the glial cells, and such a membranes are there. So it's a triple B barrier with capillary, pericytes, astrocytes. So there are some things that you has to remember of the BBB blood-brain barrier that related to your drug system is there, like a mannitol you are using for an osmotic interruption, or to break up the BBB for the transfer of certain drugs we use a mannitol as an osmotic interrupter in BBB. We are having dimethyl sulfoxide, that are the BBB permeators, means we are using this to enter a drug. With that drug we are using dimethyl sulfoxide as a permeation enhancers in the blood-brain barrier. We are having dihydropyridine redox like substances which are acting as a carrier for a drug moiety, with which if we give in a blood-brain barrier. The fourth barrier is of ours the blood cerebrospinal fluid barrier. So blood cerebrospinal fluid barrier is made up of tight junctions of barrier. It's a tight junction barrier because your choroid plexus is, as its form of choroid plexus you know they are the cells which are helping in formation of cerebrospinal fluid. So that only are forming a tight junction cells and forms a blood cerebrospinal fluid barrier. Blood placental barrier. So from the point of drug administration, the blood placental barrier is a very much important, as we know that in mother and his fetus are very much connected in cells. So blood placental barrier is a very important in that aspect. So while seeing a blood placental barrier, it's made up of fetal vein, fetal artery, maternal vein and artery, and here is a placental barrier. So On the two side, you could see that there is a one side of fetal vein, there another side of maternal vein. On the two side, there are fetal artery, and another side is their maternal artery. And in between, there is an actual placental barrier, in which there are endothelial cells, connective tissues are there. There are trophoblast and syncytium. So all the four components, endothelium, connective tissue, trophoblast and syncytium, composed of placental barrier. So you could see that a placental barrier is somewhere open and somewhere tight. So it's a very classy example of a barrier. You could see that saying that drugs lesser than 1000 Dalton, which are good lipophilic in nature, can travel this barrier. So it's a very crucial to know that which drug can easily travel by this blood placental barrier while administration of drug to a woman or a lady who is pregnant. So I think so you got the blood placental barrier. So other factors under the factors affecting the distribution of drug are age, pregnancy, obesity, diet, drug interaction and etc. Age is a very much important factor in the distribution because the barriers are very much got affected due to the age. Pregnancy, where the placental barriers are very crucial to understand and it's an important factor. Obese patients are also a very important factor to take under the consideration of distribution, and diet and drug and etc. Volume of distribution. From the point of the distribution of drug inside the body, to calculate the volume of distribution to the what amount the drug has been distributed in the body. So we have a formula like in VD, volume of distribution equal to X upon D, where X is amount of the drug in the body, upon the plasma drug concentration. So by this we calculate the volume of distribution. Volume of distribution as an important, so we are having in dyes like Evan, blue, indocyanine, green and etc. which we are using to calculate the actual amount of a drug. As in drug like body, we are just introducing in a plasma. So they just remain in a substantial specified area. So we are easily able to calculate the volume of distribution by having such a dye at a specified place. Looking at the volume of distribution, we must know the actual volume of the fluid which is being distributed in whole of the body. So we could see that plasma volume is around 6 liters. Extracellular fluid volume is around 12 liters, which is excluding plasma, and intracellular fluid excluding blood cell is around 24 liters. So thus the volume of distribution get crucial while learning about the distribution of drugs. So at the last, let's see the methods for studying the distribution patterns. So the methods for studying the distribution patterns are microdialysis method, matrix assisted laser desorption ionization mass spectroscopic imaging, that is MIRI-MSI method, autoradiography method and positron emission tomography method.